afternoon, I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry, you're listening to the Two Mikes on TalkSport. It's a brand new year and it's as though football bosses are turning over a new leaf. Louis van Gaal says his new philosophy is to win games, and he says Man United can still win the title. Meanwhile, over at West Ham, Karen Brady says they're going to sell out every single home game next season in the new Olympic Stadium. We'll be talking about that. Greg Dyke, meanwhile, is sticking to the same old script on Roy Hodgson, who's celebrating 40 years in the game. Apparently Dyke thinks this is a great achievement, and the really bad news is he says, long may it continue. Heaven help us. 08717 223344. The man coughing to my right is Mr. Mike Parry. We'll be getting an update on his calf muscle injury. And of course, we'll be bringing you all the goals as they go in the Sky Bet Championship game between Brighton and Wolves. Plus, we've got celebrity chef Aldo Zilli coming on to give Porky some cooking tips after a disaster in the kitchen over Christmas. You're listening to the Two Mikes with me, Mike Graham, and Mike Parry on TalkSport. TalkSport, we are the Two Mikes, and I'm delighted to say that Mr. Mike Porky Parry is here, looking reasonably resplendent in a very nice shirt. A very happy New Year to you, Mr. Parry.
And a very happy New Year to you, Mike, but you are the last person who'll say that to me without getting his face rearranged, OK?
Well, I wouldn't try and do that in front of you, man in your condition.
Exactly. I have a strict rule that on New Year's Day, anybody can wish me Happy New Year up till midday, right, and then that's it.
Well, it's 1:05.
Exactly. So I'm saying you're the last one, because we didn't come on air at midday, we came on air at 5 minutes past 1. So you're the last one who's allowed to do it. Anybody else I meet in the street? Right. Anybody else with whom I'm having a drink?
If I'm with you, and I will not tolerate that, I'm not going to be responsible for you.
A taxi driver or anything like that wishes me Happy New Year, I'm going to tell you, forget it, you're going to get your face rearranged, because as far as I'm concerned...
You can rearrange a plastic doll's face.
You get to midday on New Year's Day and the party is over. All this absolute bolloxio about the 12 days of Christmas. Yeah. Who on earth is still going to be celebrating Christmas on the 5th of January into the 6th of January?
Everyone who believes that you take the Christmas tree down on the Epiphany, which is the 6th of January.
Well, I mean, listen, you burn your Christmas tree today and then get on with life. That's what I say. There's a perfect natural break now.
What if it's an artificial one?
Today, well, put it back in the box.
Don't burn that.
Put it back in the loft.
That could be dangerous.
No. By the way, that fire in Dubai.
I know.
Do you know what? In our history of
incredible
of journalistic pursuit and the sort of things we've seen, I had to start fearing for the loss of life on a major scale.
You'd have certainly thought that there would have been
it was shocking.
many more casualties than there were, because, of course, Twitter went mad. I was watching it last night, and everybody, because they could see how terrible it was, assumed that there must be a terrible number of casualties.
You would.
And lots of people were having a go, saying, seems really, really in bad taste for Dubai to carry on with the firework display.
Yeah. Until he discovered, sadly, one person had a heart attack and a couple of them had minor injuries. So, from that point of view, it was an incredible escape.
Have you been to Dubai? Have you been to that hotel?
Yes. I don't know if I've been to that one, but I've certainly been to Dubai.
You don't know if you've been to it?
Well, because...
Either you've been to it or you haven't.
No. I've been to Dubai, but I don't know if I stayed in that hotel or not.
Well, why don't you know?
Because so many hotels have grown up in Dubai.
Well, it's just the tallest building in the world.
Oh, it's not. It's not. It was the one next door.
Well, it's very nearly the tallest building.
It's the Address Hotel. It was next door to the Al Burj.
Well, I think you'd know, wouldn't you, if you'd stayed there?
No, you wouldn't, because so many hotels... I've been there about 5 years ago.
Well, even you managed to get bladderated in Dubai, did you?
I did. I got bladderated in the Dubai Yacht and Golf Club, which is a magnificent golf course. And do you know what? I thought that anybody who walked around...
Well, they'd have the Dubai Classics, isn't it?
It is, yeah, absolutely. So we were in the hotel. I was drinking in the hotel, and I was drinking with two gentlemen who were in full Arab regalia. I mean, magnificently splendid white robes.
Full Arab regalia?
Yes, that's right.
Is that the technical term?
Well, yes. Sorry, what are you laughing at? What would you call it?
Well, just Arab dress.
Flowing white Arab robes. I mean, they look magnificent. Yeah. For all I know, they might have been...
traditional dress?
They could have been part of the ruling family.
I'm pretty sure you don't call it full Arab regalia.
Everything in Dubai is owned by the Maktoum family or associates of, because on the aeroplane I went on there was a plaque thanking, a member of the Maktoum family. Yeah. And when I got in the hotel, there was a plaque thanking a member of the Maktoum family who owned it and all that kind of stuff.
They're big on plaques, are they?
Eh?
They're big on plaques.
Big on plaques and pictures of Arab sheikhs. So anyway, we drank till about 6 in the morning, even though parts of Dubai are sort of dry, but this bar that I was in wasn't. And with these Arab gentlemen, they said, "Do you play golf?" Seriously. And I said, "Yes."
Yeah, but you don't know, do you?
Well, it was 6 in the morning, and I felt like it would be good, to... I think I was going home the day after. I thought, well, that's a nice way to sign off in Dubai, a game of golf at dawn.
Yeah.
So we go to... I didn't know where we were going to play golf, so we went off to, a car arrived, luxurious car, like a limo. And we go off to the...
Everything's luxurious with you, isn't it?
Well,
it's either like one extreme or the other.
No, it is in Dubai. Everything's luxurious in Dubai.
Yeah.
So we go off there, and the guys said to me in the car on the way there, "Are you any good?" I said, "No, I'm useless." "Oh, in that case, let's have a wager." I said, "Okay, that's fine by me." You know.
Who are these guys?
I don't know. I met them in the bar.
Who they were?
Met them in the bar.
Well, just a couple of strangers.
Well, they weren't strangers by the time you'd been drinking for about 3 or 4 hours together.
Yeah, but you didn't know anything about them. Businessmen.
They're businessmen, I think. I don't know. So anyway, we get out on the course, right? And you won't believe this, but on the first 9 hole, I was absolutely bladderated, right? I mean, literally, I could hardly stand up straight, and I could see...
Did you have golf shoes or anything?
Yes, yeah, all that was provided.
Yeah, okay.
All that was provided, because, of course, they changed out of their Arab robes into, golf gear, you see what I mean, to play golf.
Right.
Anyway, I told them I was useless.
You're not going to take ages of
No. What happened was...
You're talking about West Ham.
I could barely... I could barely see one ball on the tee. I thought there were 2. I mean, it was a...
You have more chance of hitting one, I suppose.
Well, exactly, yeah. So anyway, you won't believe this, Mike, and you won't believe this, because it's the only time it ever happened. I got to the halfway mark. I got out on the first 9, 2 over par.
I don't believe it.
I know you wouldn't. I knew you wouldn't.
Believe it.
And I can't believe it either. By which time, the 2 Arabian gentlemen with which I was playing had decided I was a con man, and that it was like the plot from Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was pretending that I was useless.
Cool Hand Luke?
Yeah.
What, the film about the chain gang?
Oh, no. What was
the one where he ate all the boiled eggs.
What was the one about the snooker player who got his fingers broken by the mob?
You're talking about The Hustler?
The Hustler, that's right. It's like a plot from The Hustler.
He wasn't a snooker player either.
He was a pool player.
That's right.
Right. And it was like a plot from that.
Didn't we get on with this, please?
Yeah, but hang on. So
what happened then?
Well, then...
Lucky they didn't bury you in a shallow grave. It would have been more like Casino.
I was about to say, then, in order to preserve my well-being... On the way back, I started swinging and hitting balls all over the place just to get my score massively up. Well, to be honest, it wasn't that difficult. As I was sobering up, I was getting to become like I normally am, a thrashing, useless player.
Yeah.
But anyway, the round ended with relations between Dubai
I'm glad it's coming to an end.
And me fractured.
Oh.
Fractured.
So you never saw... How much money did you win off them then?
Well, I didn't, you see, because in the end I pretended to be useless and started thrashing balls all over the place.
You pretended to be useless?
Yes.
You made a whole career out of that.
No. I don't know.
Now,
listen,
we've got a lot to talk about, so that's enough meaningless...
I want to talk about the Roy Hodgson situation.
All right, let's talk about Roy Hodgson, because I have to say, you and I are not great fans of Roy Hodgson being the manager of England.
I've
got nothing against him personally.
I'm not.
I just don't think he should be doing it, right? However, when you hear Greg Dyke giving these kind of eulogies, saying that he is one of the most revered people, like Sir Bobby Robson, Dave Sexton and Don Howe.
That's rubbish.
I don't know where he gets this from.
It's rubbish.
And then he says, long may it continue. I mean, he's 40 years at the top.
Mr. Dyke, who's the chairman of the FA, says here, I'm constantly amazed by supporters' reaction to Roy. If you go to a game with him, he's genuinely liked. I think that's true.
I'm sure people do like him. I don't think he's a bad guy. That's not the point, is it?
I've met Roy 3 or 4 times. The last time I saw Mr. Hodgson, I was sitting in the same row as him at Southampton when Everton were playing Southampton. And he is a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah.
And he glad hands everybody, and he's very polite and all that kind of stuff. But I'm afraid that his record as an England coach is not sufficiently good for him still to be the England coach, and I'm disappointed that Mr. Dyke, who is the chairman of the Football Association, has come out with a massive endorsement of hope and
I mean, the last guy. Look what happened to the last guy.
Endorsement of how useful and good Mr. Hodgson's going to. I just don't get it.
Look what happened to the last guy he endorsed.
Yeah.
You know who that was?
Mr. Capello?
Michel Platini.
Michel Platini,
he said that he was going to back him to be the boss of FIFA.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And that went all horribly wrong, didn't it?
Yeah, listen to this last quote from Mr. Dyke. It says, we're very proud that, as England manager, Roy celebrates 40 years of coaching at the highest levels of our game. Long may it continue.
Yeah, I've already said that.
What I'm saying is this. To examine that sentence, in 40 years, could you name me one thing that Mr. Hodgson has won of any merit?
Well, the best thing he did, really,
was
getting Fulham to the final of the Europa League, which was a great achievement.
Do you know
they didn't win.
Do you know why they did that? Danny Murphy was the captain.
Yeah, well.
And he hauled them there single-handedly.
Yeah,
right?
And I mean, unfortunately, to have the greatest achievement in your footballing career...
Yeah, to be a losing final.
To be a losing finalist, it's not really much to write home about.
I mean, he says, again, I don't know where Greg Dyke's getting this from. His CV is quite remarkable. Yeah, it is quite remarkable. There's not a single trophy on it. Yeah. And it is hard to think that another coach...
he's been in 19 different organisations.
That's right. Of his stature, has been prepared to learn and grow the way he has.
Yeah.
Was Greg Dyke missing when we went to Brazil and got humiliated in front of the eyes of the world in a football tournament?
About that.
Yeah, I think they certainly are.
Some of these clubs he was in charge of are quite good, aren't they? How about this one? Viking FK.
What about Orebro?
Do you think they play with those horns?
Viking FK. Orebro SK.
They don't come in a coach. They arrive for the game in a longboat.
How about this one? You fill in the... Yeah, that's right. Fill in the gaps here. Malmo FF.
Right.
I mean, somebody had a wicked mind.
Quite a big club, though.
So somebody had a wicked mind would put another letter at the end of the FF bit, wouldn't they? But I'm not getting into that.
This is a family show, by the way.
It's a family show.
Yeah,
family show.
Sake. Now, we've got to talk about Karen Brady and West Ham as well.
What about this one? What about this one, mate?
Yeah, go on.
IK Odivold. Something very odd about who manages Odivold.
There is.
In my view.
It's all quite strange.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we've got loads to talk about. You can call us as well, 08717 2233
Viking FK.
This is Talk Sport. Talk Sport, we are the two mics coming up at 3 o'clock. It's Brighton against Wolves. We'll be going there to find out what we can expect. The Moose is down there for Talk Sport, and we'll keep you updated with all the action down there as well. Now, I've got a couple of tweets and texts to read out to you. Here's one from Les in Glasgow. Porky the sore calf man. Is it after 12? Happy New Year, mate. A lot of people are jumping on the Happy New Year bandwagon. All you're going to get now is Happy New Year throughout the course of the show.
People are taunting me. And it's all because I said, look, I live in the real world. When you get to midday New Year's Day, the holiday's over. OK, forget it. Get back to work. The party's over. Let's concentrate on life. There is a life to live out there, OK?
Now, as a
result of which, a lot of jokers are sending me Happy New Year's and challenging me to a fight.
Yeah.
Good job you don't live around here.
Well, it's just a good job that you're not actually out there in public because you wouldn't win a fight against anybody. Neil says this: I'm listening to Two Mics live for a change and my girlfriend won't stop talking. Can you ask her to take a break?
Take a break?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Is she talking about us?
Well, no.
She's talking about us, about our show. I have no problems with that whatsoever.
Well, I don't think that's what he means.
Yeah,
I think he's trying to listen to the radio and she keeps talking over it.
Yes.
Derek in Pencoed says this. Porky's always going on about how only a third of his heart works. After his quiz yesterday, at least his heart does work, unlike his brain.
Yeah, I had a lot of sympathy last night for the gerrymandered questions in that quiz, and we're never going to rate that as a real quiz. It was a gash one, and
0
it was no
out of
good.
10.
Right, here we go. Happy New Year to the two Mikes, and an after midday Happy New Year to Mike Parry, who couldn't rearrange a clock face, let alone anybody else's face, and that's from 1970.
Well, I'll tell you what, if anybody wants to see the power of your punch,
they
should go to YouTube and have a look at Two Mics TV, where, remember, I challenged you to a boxing competition, and you lost.
I know, but it was on my weaker arm. I used my weaker arm.
No, you didn't.
One here from Phil. He says, Porky, take this. Happy New Year. Bolloxio to you. Well, that's very nice, isn't it?
How about this from Thomas, because we want to talk about this anyway. How can West Ham expect to sell out in a bigger stadium when they barely sell out Upton Park? And will it go down the line financially and buckle the club? Well, I mean, you heard Karen Brady
I did.
Earlier on today on Sky talking about how they're going to sell out every home game next season. I can't really see how that's going to happen. I know they've structured it in such a way that it's cheaper tickets and they're trying to encourage as many young people to come and all that. But, I mean, it's a big gamble for them, isn't it?
Look, they could well sell out in the first season. Yeah. I mean, remember, part of her job, I think she's the deputy chairman, right?
Yeah.
And part of her job is to make sure that the first season goes with a whiz-bang, and naturally they'll make it attractive to go to the ground. It is a magnificent stadium. They've done a magnificent job. I don't hold by all these people who say, they cheated the taxpayer and all that. The stadium would have crumbled, I think, if somebody like West Ham hadn't taken over and got moving on the project that they've done. They've done a magnificent job. But what they've got to hope is that in their first season there, they're going to do enough to convince people to come back in the following seasons. Because
no, but looking at the way they're playing this season, for example, I mean, they started off very well. Slaven Bilic came in. It was all going to be new and clean.
But the last 5 or 6
exciting
games have been...
But they really went into a bit of a slump. But I mean, the last couple of games have been a bit better. But I mean...
but they went 5 games where I don't think they got a point. They got 1 point out of 15 or something.
Well, they slid all the way down to the sort of mid-table, didn't
But
they?
what I'm saying is that I totally agree with you. If they play as they've played over the last 10 seasons on an average basis, the second season they're in the new Olympic Stadium, I can't believe 60,000 people are around, available to go and watch West Ham every week. I just don't think there's those number of people around.
Well, I think there are those number of people around, and don't forget the Premier League gets more and more popular every year.
No, Mike, they're not around. West Ham will not attract 60,000 people a week.
Well, how about if they have a marketing plan, which is to turn West Ham into a kind of a cut-rate Arsenal, if you like, in the sense that, Arsenal fans are always saying when they go to the stadium, Man United fans are the same, the place is full of tourists. It's full of people who come from Japan, Japan, full of people that come from
not really.
the North America.
It's not.
Oh, it is. There's a lot of them.
There are some, but they're a very small percentage of the crowd.
Right, well, hang on. But if you saw all those people last night who were lining the river to watch the fireworks, almost every single person that was interviewed was from somewhere else. Argentina,
but they're not football fans.
Spain. Wait. People are coming to London for all sorts of reasons, right? The Premier League is a global brand.
Yes.
I think if West Ham are smart about the way they market themselves to foreign sort of football fans, they will get people coming there.
No, that's drivel.
That's not drivel.
That's utter drivel.
And then you know what you'll see? Yeah. You'll see what they did at Celtic. There'll be a Japanese player, and suddenly all these Japanese people come and watch.
98%.
Suddenly there'll be a Chinese player,
98%.
and all these people from China will come. It's a business.
No,
don't be so naive.
No, I'm not being naive. You're just talking drivel.
It's a business.
98% of the people who go to Old Trafford are Manchester United fans. They're not tourists.
Yeah.
98% of the people who go to the Emirates are Arsenal fans. They're not tourists.
I don't know if 98% is a figure you've plucked out of the air. Is this another one of your figures that you just know nothing about?
Well, hang on. When were you last at the Emirates?
I've never been to the Emirates.
You've never been to the Emirates. When were you last at Old Trafford?
I've never been there either.
Right, well, I have many, many times. Yeah. I can tell you.
When was the last time you were there?
At the Emirates this season.
Right.
About October.
Presumably you were in a hospitality area.
I wasn't. I was with my mate.
What, you weren't in a box?
Well, he does have a facility there, but that's not my fault.
So you were in a box?
What do you expect me to do? Do you expect me to go to the Emirates and not see my mate? Is that what you expect?
I expect you not to be able to judge who the rest of the fans are if you're sitting in a box.
Listen, to get to a football ground, unless you arrive by helicopter and land on the centre circle, you've got to walk the streets around the ground.
So you counted 98% of the fans and decided they were all from London, did you?
I'm certain of it. I'm absolutely certain of it, yeah.
Well, I think you're not really expanding your mind enough to think about what the future holds for Premier League teams.
Let's move on to
West
this.
Ham.
Let's move on to this, right? Now, I raised something this morning, and I'm sure I'm probably wrong. You said I was wrong. When I saw the TV pictures from West Ham's ground this morning, the former Olympic Stadium, the camera was panning across a running track. Now, is that because they haven't built the pitch yet? Is the pitch not there yet?
I presume they're still working on the stadium.
Because I'm sure they are.
Because they've got this plan for retractable seats, haven't they?
Yes.
And I thought the whole point of the retractable seats was to push them over the track.
I'm sure that's right.
So that they can then be brought back and the track can still be used.
I'm sure that's right.
So maybe that was the position.
Because a stadium with a permanent track there doesn't work.
Well, that's what they wanted to avoid.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got it right. It's just that I think the TV pictures we saw this morning must obviously have been taken before the pitch has been properly laid. Of that, I'm sure. But anyway, look, I wish West Ham the very best indeed. I think it's a fantastically ambitious plan. It's great for football to promote another Premiership team into the leagues of glamour and glitz and new stadium.
But when
and all
you were
that.
talking earlier about this, when you were talking to Colin Murray, I thought you made a very good point. This is not just about West Ham Football Club. It's about the brand of West Ham.
I agree,
and that's kind of what I'm saying. Is that the only way they can make this work? Is to promote West Ham as a brand around the world that people want to come and watch.
But at the end of the day, the only way that brand will hold its value is if they win games on the football pitch. It's as simple as that. And to do that, you've got to find an awful lot of money these days to compete, as you well know.
Yeah.
The other thing I said in the handover there with Colin was, we're knocking too many of our grounds down. Now, fortunately, the latest grounds...
they have to, though, because they're outmoded, they're ancient.
I don't agree.
I mean, Stamford Bridge, for example, the last time I went there, you still go in through these tiny little...
Yeah, but they're rebuilding that on the same site.
That's why they have to.
On the same site.
When you go in, you have to go in through this ridiculous turnstile, which, quite frankly, is dangerous.
Yeah, well,
I don't think they should have those anymore.
OK, but they're rebuilding that. So Chelsea's being rebuilt. Liverpool...
Yeah, but I'm telling you, that's why they have to.
Yes, of course they've got to rebuild the grounds, but I don't want them to knock down the old stadia and put it somewhere else.
Why?
Because the fans want it to be where it is. It would have been better, historically, if West Ham could have knocked down the bowling ground and rebuilt it there, but for financial reasons and the opportunity to move the Olympic Stadium, they didn't do that.
And also,
I don't
of course,
blame for that.
Taxpayers gave them a very nice gift in order for them to do it.
Well, why do you say that with a shred of bitterness in your voice?
It's not a shred of bitterness.
I'm
telling you the way it is that West Ham have effectively got themselves a free new stadium.
Well, I would say effectively they've got two very, very good businessmen running the place. That's Mr. Gold, Mr. Sullivan, and they have taken advantage of an opportunity to actually...
It's costing them hardly any money.
To actually refurbish a public facility that would have gone to rack and ruin. That's my view.
Yeah, but they're getting a brand new stadium off the back of everybody else in this country.
Good for them.
Benefit.
Good for them.
Well, I'm not saying rightly or wrongly. I'm just saying...
Well, why are you making the statement then?
Because it's a very important point.
No, because you're being nasty and you're criticising.
No, you see, again, you project all the time. I'm never nasty.
Well, if you're not nasty and you're criticising, why did you raise it? Why did you raise it?
Because it's a very relevant point.
Is it? Why? What's the relevance of it?
Because West Ham have moved to a new stadium without having to pay for building it. That's what I mean. And not very many many football clubs in the Premier League have got that luxury. Or can you name me one?
And my view is the taxpayers should be grateful to the people who put that deal together.
Well,
otherwise, what did you say?
Well, you're an idiot then.
Why?
Because I don't think anyone would agree with that.
Why?
Anyone.
That is going to be a usefully used stadium providing facilities for an awful lot of people. Have you seen the stadiums in South Africa that are not used anymore for football, which have gone to rack and ruin? Somebody, I mean, what about...
Well, they haven't got the Premier League there.
Look
at the time.
Even the Olympic Stadium in Sydney... right, when it's a rack and ruin.
Yeah.
See, you always want quiet when you've been beaten soundly in an argument.
I haven't...
You dumb cough.
You could not beat me soundly at anything, as we have been proving for the last 2 years. This is Talk Sport.
Dumb cough.
A little bit later on to give you some cooking tips,
Well,
right?
I had a bit of a disaster, which I've only just told you about over Christmas.
You haven't told me about it. You just said you had a disaster.
I'd had a bit of a disaster. I can't tell you. Listen, what do you think this is? What do you think this bag's
I don't know.
right?
Well, just wait for a second. I mean, you've got another gift, have you? Why are you throwing it around?
Well, I'm just bouncing up and down. I'm quite excited.
Well, just hang on a second.
Okay, right.
You're always, have you got any other kind of position apart from quite excited? You're always quite excited.
What?
You're like a child.
No, life,
Just be quiet for a second.
Life bears fruits to those who are optimistic.
Let me read you a couple of tweets out here. Professor Plum says this. Totally agree, Mike, about the Olympic Stadium. It's unfair that West Ham United have been gifted a stadium and at taxpayers' expense
miserable
as
lot.
well. Here's one from Toby, who says, what was the outcome last night with the stalkers Porky set up to follow you? Well, I can tell you this, Toby, judging by the looks on the faces of some of these alleged stalkers, somebody should have been following them around rather than the other way around.
Mate,
they look as if they had been more bladderated than I was.
That is harsh.
Percy says, West Ham United have sold 35,000 of the 40,000 season tickets so far. The remaining 5,000 go to fans on the priority waiting list, and that has 15,000 on it currently. And then he says, and that leaves 14,000 seats, away team 5%, Newham Council 5%, matchday sales 5%, plus corporate equals 54,000.
Well, good.
Well, it all sounds very good in theory.
Yeah, good. But you see, you're pouring water on it again, you know.
No, I'm not.
You can't go around, what's the name on people's parades. I mean, they've done a fantastic job there.
What did you say?
You know what I'm talking about.
No,
you know what I'm talking about?
No, I think I heard something like that, but I can't believe you said that on radio.
I didn't say it. You
Who
can't
did?
go around, you know what I mean, on people's parades. That's all I said.
Pouring cold water would be one way of saying
Well, I'm talking about, the urinatory expression, which we don't talk about on this show because it's a family show.
Percy adds, the capacity at the moment is 54,000. However, there is the potential to increase to 66,000. 12,000 seats are not licensed yet. Well, that's what I'm talking about. You are not, I don't think, in all honesty, unless you market West Ham as a global brand and you get all these tourists coming in.
Oh, she's talked about that. I heard Baroness Brady talking about it.
Well, I think that's the way to go.
Well, good for them. It's going to be a long commercial job, but they have tremendous energy in industry and tremendous talent in the boardroom.
But what will happen, and we know that there's an awful lot of West Ham fans who are not particularly happy to be moving from Upton Park because they like it there.
I think most of them are, I think most of them like a brand new spanking stadium.
No, they're so cool. The people like you who go, I wish they wouldn't knock down the old stadium.
Yeah, I do.
There's an awful lot of football fans who don't want to see this march of capitalism, this march of, global branding.
But you've got to remember,
of
they're moving to a place which is even more representative of the East End of London.
No, it isn't.
That West Ham are from than where they are now. Yes, it is.
How is that? How
Stepney.
do you figure that?
Stepney.
It's in Stratford.
What? Stratford, that's what I meant. Stratford.
It's nowhere near Stepney.
No, it's nowhere near Stepney. It's Stratford, it's East London.
in the middle of a sports park that was purpose-built for the Olympics.
In East London.
Well, it's in East London.
It's very much East London.
There's nothing...
It's old East London.
No, it's not. It's new East London,
It's new East London. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
What are you talking about? Why don't you just tell me what's in the bag?
No. They've moved from old East London to new East London. Right, now, here's my present.
I wish you'd move somewhere.
Now, first of all, it's from a company called Party.co.uk. Is that the one run by the Duchess of Cambridge's family?
No idea.
Do you know?
I don't know.
I just thought... Anyway, I'm going to open it.
I shouldn't think so, because I think they only do kind of... party gifts, don't they?
Well, these are gifts, aren't they? Right.
Well, no, they're gifts. They're not are they party gifts?
Oh, I don't know. Now, here, I'll tell you what I've got here.
What on earth are they?
Well, I'm just going to get them out.
Well.
They look like a pair of...
Oh, these are from the Two Mites fan club.
Oh, how do you know this?
Yeah, because he posted a picture of them on Twitter the other day.
Oh, well, here we are.
He's sending them in to match your blue and white striped dressing gown.
Well, I've got a blue and white striped dressing gown which my mum gave me. These are a pair of slippers, which are blue and white striped, but they're not...
What size are they?
Let me have a look.
Are they children's? 12?
No, you idiot.
Yeah, they look about right.
No, they're not conventional slippers in the sense they've got ankle protectors. And they're actually...
They haven't got ankle protectors.
They have. They've got ankle protectors. Look, see?
Oh, no, they're like boots.
Yeah, they are like boots. That's right, yeah.
But they've also got bobbles on them as well. Are you sure those are for men?
I don't think they are, actually. They've got, dangly-tangly things on the side with bows. No, I don't think these are meant for me, actually. I wonder who sent these to me.
I've just told you.
How do you know?
Because he posted the picture on Twitter. Did you not listen to anything I say?
Hang on. I've got a note here.
Why don't you read the note? Maybe that will reveal something about who sent it to you.
Let me see. Right, the note simply says... hang on, it says... it doesn't say who it's from. It says it was bought from Amazon, right?
Yeah.
But it says this is...
Is this a note from Amazon?
Yes. It says it's a one delivery of a nautical booty slipper.
Right.
Right?
Nautical booty slipper.
The nautical booty slipper. Thank you very much. The only other thing in this, and this is a bit odd, is a wine voucher for £60.
What?
Well, that's what it is, isn't it?
That's not a wine voucher for £60. Give it to me.
It says £60 wine voucher. Doesn't it?
No, but to claim it, you have to go to a wine delivery merchant.
Yeah, well,
right?
That's where you get wine, you fool.
And it basically means that you have to buy 12 bottles of wine.
Yes.
Then you claim your £60 voucher.
Right.
So it's not a £60 voucher as such.
Well, if I go and buy 12 bottles and they're £6 each, that's £72.
Yeah.
Are you saying they'll then give me a £60 wine voucher?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, that's a pretty good deal.
I think so.
That means I get 12 bottles for £1 a bottle. What are you doing? How dare you?
Do you remember when you ripped up my parking ticket?
Yeah,
That's my revenge. There goes your £60 voucher. This is Talk Sport. Good afternoon, I'm Mike Graham and he is Mike Parry, and we're about to embark on something that Porky has needed for a very long time, and that's a couple of pieces of advice about cooking. I've just sent out the picture of his new slippers, blue and white stripes, very nice.
Nice picture.
They're more like booties, actually. It's the kind of things you buy a baby.
Actually. They are, yeah. But they're size 7, so I just about got into them. But
size 7?
Thank you anyway. And they
is that what shoe size you take?
No, I take size...
Yeah, you do. Well, they fit you.
No, I take size 10. Size 10. It was a struggle to get them on, but
if you take size 10,
me,
there's no way you can get into a size 7.
I know somebody who's going to find them...
exaggerating again.
Who's going to find them very comfortable.
Do you know, by the way, this is a leap year?
A leap year?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, doesn't that excite you?
No, not at all. It means one extra day, doesn't it?
Well, it means there's an extra day.
So what? February 29th. Yeah. So what? You know? Who cares?
Well, I mean, it means there's an extra day.
I don't care.
You don't care?
No, I don't care. I don't care about one extra day. People get all excited about it, you know. People get born on February the 29th, go around saying, oh, look, I'm special. I have a birthday once every 4 years. Oh, go and bore off, will you?
You're a horrid person, really, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
It's horrid.
Right, now, come on, get on, mate.
Well, somebody tweeted me and said, actually, you know, since it's a leap year, somebody can, a woman can propose marriage to you.
Well, I'm going to do a runner on February 29th, believe me.
I don't think there's going to be a big queue.
There's a queue of them down the road.
No, I don't think so.
Believe me.
Let's talk to a man who knows an awful lot more about cooking than you.
Yes.
But mind you, that could be almost anybody in the known universe.
What?
This man in particular is a Chelsea fan, Aldo Zilli. Happy New Year to you, Aldo. Welcome to the show.
Happy New Year, buongiorno.
Yeah, Aldo, thanks ever so much.
Without a hangover, by the way.
Oh, yeah, well, I haven't got a hangover, mate.
He's always got a hangover.
No. Dedicated to the job, Aldo, and, you know, we steer clear of the curse of chefs, and that is tasting the cooking sherry.
I'm well impressed with you two. I tell you, I can't believe that you're working today.
Well, there you go. Now, Aldo, got a real specific problem here. My wonderful sister is a home economist, and that means that she has very, very good kitchenware and stuff, right? Because that's what she does for a living.
Kitchenware.
Oh, I need a home economist soon.
Oh, do you? Oh, okay. Well, I'll
put her in touch, please.
I will put her in touch indeed. She's the best in the business, believe me. But anyway, she has magnificent pans and all that kind of stuff.
Magnificent pans?
Yes.
Are you having a laugh?
Well, hang on.
Now, why would you describe a pan as magnificent?
Aldo is a top chef. He knows what I'm talking about.
Aldo.
Now, Aldo,
Yeah,
what happened on Boxing Day was everybody was moving up and down, getting showered and all that, getting ready for lunch. I was told to watch the sprouts in the pan, OK? We were boiling the sprouts. Now, at the same time, my brother-in-law opened 6 different bottles of wine, so I thought I should help with the tasting of the wine while I was put in charge of looking after the sprouts. The problem is, what happened was the water in the sprout pan boiled away, and I didn't notice until I smelt a terrible sort of odour, and it was the sprouts turning black and attached themselves to the inside of the pan. To this day...
Oh, no.
To this day...
What, you mean you burnt the bottom of the pan?
I burnt the pan, and to this day...
How long did that take? I mean,
How can you burn water?
Well, no, listen, Aldo, what happened was that it burnt so badly, my sister's now not speaking to me because I ruined her pan. To this day, she's trying to get out the remains of burnt sprout from her very expensive pan. I mean, what did I do wrong?
Well, what did you do wrong?
Yeah.
I think there was too much wine involved.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
what
much
you did wrong.
everything. You did everything wrong, really.
I mean, sprouts need no time at all. You know, people think they have to boil sprouts to death. That's the problem.
Yes.
You know, I'm just cooking some sprouts today. Actually,
Yes.
I got these mini little ones, and I'm gonna probably cook them in very small amount of water and some butter for about 4 or 5 minutes.
4 or 5 minutes, they'll still be
Yeah,
hard.
see, let me just explain something to you, Aldo, about the man sitting next to me, right? He can't cook, basically. He's never learned how to cook. He eats everything out of a can. His favourite meal is fish and chips, which he buys from his local fish and chip shop. And he thinks that whenever he does cook any vegetables, he actually said to me when we were talking about sprouts before Christmas, he said, well, how else can you cook sprouts apart from boiling them? He thinks you boil everything until within an inch of its life. Can you advise him on what you should be doing?
I think sprouts should be steamed first of all,
Right.
not necessarily boiled.
Well, how do you steam them? I haven't got a steamer.
Buy a steamer.
Well, you can steam them. You can still steam them in bain-marie. You can create steamer. You know, you don't have to. You can get a little pasta boiler and put on top of some water.
Yeah, put them in a colander.
Pasta colander. Put on top of some hot boiling water. Put the sprouts in there and just leave them in there. Cover them up. You know, 5, 6, 10 minutes. It depends on the size of the sprouts. Then what you can do is you take them out.
Yes.
You chop them up with some pancetta in a pan.
Yes.
And then you turn them into something quite amazing.
I bet you don't even know what pancetta is, do you?
I don't actually. Is that cheese?
Ostrich bacon, sorry. It's an Italian bacon.
Oh, is it a bacon?
Yeah,
Right.
it's like
yeah.
those little square things.
Oh,
you know?
I
A
see,
bit of Parma
yeah.
ham, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That sounds good. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
But
A little bit of cream.
Yeah.
if you wanted
Okay.
to.
But you see, Aldo, I have the same problem with carrots. Now, you know, my colleague here keeps berating me for boiling carrots, but that's the only way you can cook carrots, isn't it?
Well, carrots, you leave them whole. You pale them, leave them whole, and a little amount of water. Again, butter,
Yeah.
and then cover them with some kitchen paper,
Yeah.
and let them cook on its own steam and its own water for until they're soft. You've got to cook carrots through.
I've got to stop you there, Aldo, because if you're advising Porky to put some kind of paper in a pan, I can see a fire problem.
No, but you don't put them in the oven. You leave them on top.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
put some kitchen, and then make sure the kitchen paper, the paper actually covers and touches the water and the butter.
Absolutely.
And then leave them on there. But you've got to peel them first, and even if you scrape them with a scourer, so they become nice and red, and butter, loads of butter in there, and they'll come the best. You'll have the best carrots you've ever had.
Oh, that's brilliant. That sounds good. I'm going to give that a try.
Seasoning is important as well.
I'm going to give that a real try.
Now, Aldo, let me ask you what we're going to be expecting. I was saying to Porky, it's a leap year coming up. There's always some kind of slightly new fad.
It's a brilliant year for restaurants.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, because you get an extra day's business.
Of course. We've got
okay.
16. San Carlos got 16 restaurants. You know, we take 50 million quid a year turnover.
50?
Imagine.
50 million?
It'll be
50?
50 million quid turnover a
Wow,
year.
that's
This
brilliant.
year will probably be 55, won't it?
Well,
the extra day.
Exactly.
No, one extra day can't give you another 5 million.
Yeah,
Even
it
I-
can, because people go out for dinner more on the 29th of February because they don't get to do
Believe me,
it
that
except
price
once
is
every
it will.
4 years.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see what you mean.
He tells the accountant that.
Yeah.
But what about the new fads this year? What are we going to be eating? Because every week it seems there's a new kind of
That's right.
restaurant opening up in London now. They're selling more and more exotic types of food. I know you're a bit more of a traditionalist when it comes to these things, but what do you think is going to be the sort of trendy food to eat this year?
The new trend is coconut oil this year.
Coconut oil?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hang on.
Have you used coconut oil in anything yet?
He only rubs it on his skin.
No, hang on.
That's good. That's good.
Ever since I was
Good
about
start.
ever since I was about 6, Aldo, I've been drinking coconut milk when I won a coconut at the fair.
You don't drink coconut
I do,
milk. When was
yeah.
the last time you drank coconut milk?
When I was a kid, and I used to drill into the coconuts and drink the
hang on.
milk.
Well, when you say ever since I was 6, that would suggest that ever since you were 6 and until now.
Well, I'm sure would I drink coconut milk, Aldo, when I was out in the sort of British Virgin Islands, the Caribbean, and they serve coconut milk there, don't they?
Absolutely, and it is so healthy for you.
Yes, yeah, there you see.
Cocoa Pacific.
I mean, he's talking about coconut oil.
Yeah,
He's
well,
talking
okay.
about coconut
Go for it.
milk.
Well, where'd you get coconut oil from? Do you
From
crush
a coconut.
Anywhere. Just go to a supermarket.
Yeah. So what do you do? Do
It's
you?
in front of you everywhere.
Yeah, but
use it for anything.
It's in the
Use it for
coconut
cooking.
oil. It's in the coconut oil section.
Yeah, but Aldo, what I'm saying is,
It's healthier than any other stuff.
how do you extract oil from a coconut? If you drill into a coconut, milk comes out, not oil.
Well, it's like an olive. Yes. You know, it's a fruit, isn't it?
Yes.
The olive, you pick it and then they make it. They press it and then they it's the same with coconut.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You know, I mean, a little bit of water comes out if you inside the coconut, but it's still the white is still there.
Okay. All right. Fine.
All the flesh is still there, if you like.
Fine. Now, a few years ago, Aldo, I gave up potatoes. That was for health reasons, didn't want it to...
When did you give up potatoes?
I gave up potatoes.
You said you had fish and chips the other day.
They're not potatoes. They are French fries.
This is what I'm looking... this is what I have to put up with, Aldo.
And what I'm thinking, Aldo, is if I wanted now to reintroduce them back into my diet...
What kind of potatoes are you talking about?
Well, this is what I'm going to ask Aldo.
I like baked potatoes.
If I wanted to introduce them back into my diet, which is the healthiest and most nutritious way to do it?
Steam.
Skin
on. New potatoes.
New potatoes. I love new potatoes.
Use small potatoes.
Yeah.
Fresh mint and vinegar.
Ooh, fresh mint and vinegar. That sounds quite
nice. Fresh mint and vinegar, steamed potatoes.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Cut them all up, dress them up,
yes.
And extra virgin olive oil or coconut oil.
Now, listen, Aldo, we've been talking for a long time, ever since we've been doing this show on Talk Sport, of having a kind of a cook-off scenario.
You and me?
No, not you and me and him, me and Porky.
Oh,
us two,
right?
You two.
Do you think we could come and do it at your place one time when you're a bit quiet?
Why don't we do that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be great.
And we'll film
Why don't we do that in Covent Garden? The restaurant in Covent Garden downstairs, we've got a big kitchen.
Okay.
And we'll do a cook-off, you two.
Yes.
And we'll invite the producers for lunch and myself.
Well, that's lovely, and we'll take a video of it. We'll put it up on the TV for TalkSport and for the two mics, and then we'll invite the public to maybe make a judgment on who was most able.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any worry about that. Are you guys open today, Aldo? People find your restaurant?
Yeah, it's all reopened nicely. Last night was a massive night.
Yeah, yes.
Good. Obviously, but today. Considering it's so dead everywhere, there's a lot of tourists in London.
Right. No, it's fantastic. London is now the centre of food.
Do you find, Aldo, excuse me, hang on one sec, it's a final question. Do you find that on New Year's Eve, Aldo, people get a little bit over-exuberant because of the occasion, and you get what I describe as the amateur diners, because they only come out once a year?
Yes.
But you want them all, though, don't you? Why would you slag off people that come to your restaurant?
He's not slagging them off.
It's a bit. No, I'm not slagging anybody off. I mean, it's it's one of those things, isn't it? New Year's Eve is an occasion.
Yes.
And everybody wants to go out. They
Exactly.
don't normally necessarily would go out on a normal evening.
Yes.
And it's a bit like Valentine's night. These evenings are pushed on you.
Yes.
You have to do what the others do, and what the norm is to go out and have a few drinks and spend more money than you would normally spend as well.
Absolutely.
So, New Year's Eve and Valentine's night are the two nights where maybe, if I didn't have restaurants, I would avoid them.
Oh, I see. Very good indeed. Excellent advice, Aldo. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, and we'll be in touch about the cook-off.
We certainly will.
We'll sort it out in January or something.
We certainly will. Thank you very much
indeed.
indeed.
Stuff. Aldo Zilli there,
Great guy.
man who has a restaurant empire with a turnover of 50 million.
Yeah,
You've seen how you sat up straight when he said that.
Yeah, well, not surprising. Yeah. And every time I mentioned a vegetable, sprouts, carrots, potatoes, what was his advice on how to cook them?
Steam it.
No, to boil them.
No, he said steam it.
Steaming is boiling.
No, it isn't.
Of course it is.
Steam it.
It's not that. Well, where do you think steam comes from?
Boiling water.
Thank you very much indeed.
But it's not water. But it's not water.
Therefore, the boiling process has to be implemented when you cook food.
No, you're an idiot.
See, and I've just had that proved now by one of the world's great chefs.
You see,
so you thick-headed nonsense you tried to peddle during this show, right?
Nobody else heard what you heard. I'd love to be inside your head.
I did.
It's like being a lunatic. Melbury. You said about 5 different versions apart from the correct one.
I was trying to sort of empathise with Alan Birchall, who very kindly came on. He's a boy from that part of the world.
With who?
Alan Birchall.
Oh, I thought you said Alan Birchall.
No, I did not.
Now, how about this one from Chris in London?
Okay.
Porky, can you please explain how a blind person can read the letter to get the telephone number? It's only January the 1st. Yeah, Hawksby and Jacobs, we've got 3 months worth of clips of the week. They'll be back, of course, next week with clips. Of
course they will.
They'll probably have quite a few from this week.
Maybe. The way that works is that people who are sight impaired get a letter that's got Braille communication on it.
Was this one in Braille?
No, it wasn't, no.
Well, so how would they know then?
Well, because I'm not registered as a sight-impaired person, but anybody who is, who would have notified the organisation concerned...
You should be registered just impaired, generally.
I'm not going to react to that because, I can take a joke and all that, but personal insults, relating... I mean, Only 1/3 of my heart works, Mike. And if you think that's, funny, you think it's funny to be, battling against the odds in life, then
I don't believe a word of it.
Happens to you, pal.
I don't believe a word of it. You're clearly somebody who makes a big meal out of anything that's wrong with you.
What?
Apparently your calf has miraculously recovered. You're not limping anymore.
No, excuse me.
Yesterday you were telling us all that
excuse
you
me.
have to have months of therapy. I don't believe a word of this 1/3 of my heart.
Hang on. A very caring black cab driver this morning spotted me outside Waterloo Station.
This morning?
Stopped. Yes, this morning, yeah, stopped. Said, "Hi, mate, are you doing the show today?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Jump in." He referred to my calf problem immediately, and I said, "Oh, thanks,
So
mate."
he was aware of it?
He was aware of it. I said, "I normally walk, actually, because you can walk a shortcut route through the sort of back streets of the studios here." I said, he said, no, I've heard about the calf, and I didn't have to tell him where I was going. He knew exactly where the studios were, whizzed me down Stamford Street and all that, and then when we got to the entrance, the doors to Talksport Towers, I said, "Look, man, that's great." He wouldn't take any money off me. I insisted in the end. I said, "Give it to the cab charity or something like that." And there we are. So I'm here. So
what's this got to do with how your calf is?
Because what I'm saying is, a lot of people in this world are very sympathetic.
No, they're sympathetic because they believe your stories, your sob stories, which I frankly don't.
Hang on, didn't you see me hobbling around last night after we finished the show and on our way home? The minute we finish this show tonight,
it's all cosmetic, because you want people to feel sorry for you.
The minute we finish the show tonight, I'm out of here, man, and I'm to a physiotherapist, OK?
Good.
That's how serious it is.
Good, excellent. Right. Now, speaking of people that we haven't spoken to for a while, Mr. Russell Hargreaves is waiting patiently because
excellent.
he's going to be watching Northampton against Exeter.
Is he still chairman of the Stuart Lancaster fan club?
Well, you may have to ask him.
OK.
But first of all, we're going to ask you about Northampton, Exeter. Russ, a very happy New Year to you.
Yeah, happy New Year, gentlemen. Good to hear your combined voices. How's it going?
Yeah, very well
Very
indeed.
well.
Very well indeed. Now, we may have to ask you about Stuart Lancaster in a moment.
That's fine.
But tell us quickly about Northampton.
Yeah, no problem. So this is 5th against 2nd in the Aviva Premiership. First game of the new year and a big festive crowd here at Franklin's Gardens, which has been newly remodeled. The new Barwell stand is open, so really, really good atmosphere ahead of this one. Saints should be higher in the table. They're not. They need a much better 2016. The likes of Victor Matfield, the South African, back for them. And Exeter, Mike, what a season they've had so far. 2nd in the table, just 1 defeat. And even though they're away from home, I think they'll head into this one as the narrow favourites. So we're off at 3 o'clock.
Excellent, great. Now, Ross, we haven't had a chance to chat with you really at any great length since Stuart Lancaster stepped down. What is the future for the boy? When you have had an international career like that, but clearly stamped with failure, does he have a future in club rugby?
Well, you know what? It's really interesting that you mentioned that, because over the last 24 hours, Mike, there's talk that there's going to effectively be a job swap where he'll go and take the Japanese job, which, of course, Eddie Jones has just vacated to come here. So I'll tell you what, I think it's probably a good move if he takes it. I think it's best he got out of the firing line, left this country and had a new job, new project on the other side of the world, and see how he gets on.
He should stay there for a while, in my view.
Well, you know what, because obviously if he does well out there, he'd come back with a much risen stock and maybe have another pop with the Premiership team, as Mike mentioned, or something. If it doesn't work out, I do wonder if that could be it. And I'll be honest with you guys, a lot of what you said in the build-up to the Rugby World Cup proved to be true. I say that with a heavy heart. I don't like to admit I'm wrong.
See,
but
Russ, I've always said, Russ, that you're a much bigger man than Porky would ever be.
What?
See, if you'd been proved wrong, Porky, Russell would never have heard you say something like that.
Russ, I think it's incredibly honourable of you to say that, because, of course, you're an expert in these matters and we're not. I just got the feeling about the man's composure, about the man's character. I knew nothing about his ability as a rugby coach, but you did. And the point is, I think at the end of the day, the job was just too big for him, Russ.
Yeah, he brought some good things to the table, which is what I was trying to defend him for over all those months. The attacking style of rugby, the pride back in the jersey, all of that side of it. But as you say, it got to a certain point where a top-class coach who knew how to win big games of rugby was needed. He didn't have the experience, he didn't have the composure. Selection for the World Cup, as discussed, was a disaster. He moves on. I hope he gets this job, and
Indeed.
if he does, we'll see what happens, of course, because don't forget, they're World Cup hosts in 2019, aren't they, as well?
Of course they are. Host
maybe
country.
you could go out and cover it.
Yeah.
Russ, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks,
Russell
Russ,
Hargreaves there at the Northampton Exeter game. We'll get updates from him throughout the afternoon.
That'd be quite astonishing, really, because if he takes that job, he'll have been the coach of the host team in 2015, he'll be coach of the host team in 2019, but, he hasn't got really much hope of doing any better in 2019 than he did in 2015, has he, if he's head of Japan?
You have to say, and you might feel sorry for the guy to some extent because he just wasn't up to the job, or he got the job too early. But, in any other walk of life, if you had been in a situation like Stuart Lancaster and you had an unmitigated failure, or indeed Roy Hodgson at the World Cup, there's no way that you would get another top job straight away. It's incredible, isn't it?
In business, you wouldn't, but in
the world of sport, it seems to happen more and more.
Well, funny you should say that, because I would compare it to the world that you and I have lived in most of our lives, journalism.
Yeah.
And the price of failure in journalism was always pretty high.
Yeah.
In the sense
you would
that
always
you got payoff after payoff after payoff after payoff.
Yeah, but each time you got a payoff, it was unusual to go back to the same job. You'd have to go back in slightly lower down. Slightly lower down.
Do you not remember a guy called Bob Edwards?
Yeah, I do.
Right, Bob Edwards,
That was a very long time ago.
Yeah, well, it was a long time
when
ago.
there was many more people in the game.
Many more people in the game. But Bob Edwards was, at one time, editor of the Sunday Mirror. Yeah. But the great story about Bob Edwards was he was editor of the Daily Express. Now, as you know, I had a long association with the Daily Express, longer than yourself, and I rose to a very high position.
I'm going to ask you one question.
Yes.
What was the circulation of the Daily Express when you joined?
2.2 million.
What was it when you left?
About the same.
No, it wasn't. Give me a straight answer.
Excuse me.
When did you leave?
Excuse me. Sorry?
When did you leave the Express?
91.
91.
Or 92, something like that.
You can't remember, can you?
Yes, I can. Listen...
I would put it to you that during the time that you were at the Express, the paper lost almost 1 million sales.
No, utter rubbish. No. Circulations were going down all over the place. But anyway, look, about Bob Edwards, what happened was he was the editor, right? And, of course, in those days, everybody was an inebriate, drunken clown who didn't do much work, and the paper staggered from one crisis to another. But anyway, everybody hated the editor because he was the editor. Bob gets to the booth, right, and off he goes.
For no particular reason.
No particular reason, you know.
Yeah, but that's the difference, you see. Yeah. I mean, the thing about what you're making the analogy with sport.
Yeah.
In most cases in sport, you don't get fired for being successful.
That's
unless you're the manager of Real Madrid.
Exactly.
I know you want desperately to tell the rest of this story.
Yes.
You've got plenty of time.
Yes.
Don't look at me as if I'm somehow stealing air from you.
No,
just
you're
because
not.
I'm talking.
You're not.
You've got that look on your face.
You're just going on that tangent again,
well,
you see.
That's what we do.
No,
my point is that, you know, to make the comparison between our old business of newspapers and sport is actually erroneous.
OK, you say that. But anyway...
I'm sorry, we're out of time now.
No, we're not.
No, there isn't. There's no more time.
No. So Bob gets off... He gets booted out of Fleet Street.
We've got a break now.
No, he gets booted out of Fleet Street, but guess what?
What?
Within 12 months, and he got all the messages from people saying, hey, get lost, Bob, we hate you, and all that.
Well, from you, I bet you got one.
No, I wasn't there. It was before my time.
Yeah.
12 months later, they had a rethink. They brought him back.
Yeah. Well.
Where do you think that put the people who'd sent in the nasty messages?
Well, that's why you should never be nasty to people.
Quite right.
And I believe you would have sent him a nasty message even though you didn't know him.
I don't.
That's what you do.
I don't.
You've got them all written out at home.
I don't.
This is Talk Sport. Good afternoon, we are the two Mikes. He's Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham. We'll keep you updated on that Brighton game. Everything that's going on down there, you will hear it all here first on Talk Sport, of course. We've got two Talk Sport live commentary games coming up at the weekend. Watford against Manchester City, 5:30 kick-off on Saturday, and then Crystal Palace Chelsea on Sunday at 1:30. We've got lots more to do. We've got a little clip coming up later on in this hour, of course, which is always something to look forward to. Now, the thing I didn't tell you about last night, and my New Year's Eve and New Year's Day kind of, breaking into
ramblings, yes.
Well, the rain started battering itself down just as we left the pub yesterday, very shortly after having a couple of drinks. Right, we just went home early.
Yeah, couple of drinks, quick drinks.
Yeah, and then at the other end, I got completely soaked.
Yes.
It was like sort of tornado conditions,
right,
in the old East London, as you would call it.
Yes.
So I had a little snooze before midnight because I thought, I want to watch the fireworks.
Right.
As soon as that was over, you never guess what was on television.
Go on, tell me.
Goldfinger, which I hadn't actually watched.
One of my favourite films,
I know.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it was tremendous. I mean, I haven't seen it for a few years, and I've never really watched it probably within the last 10 years, all the way through.
Remember when people watched that, and the minute that they saw the Aston Martin and the range of facilities, the Aston Martin, it was groundbreaking cinema.
Well, that
groundbreaking.
The car chase.
Yes, absolutely.
Where
you left the oil out and the steam and the shield to protect the back windscreen and the machine guns in the front.
I had a model of that,
Yeah, I did as well. I did. We've had this conversation before. Yeah. We both had one.
Well, we've had lots of conversations before.
Yeah.
But you don't object to the ones that you repeat.
Well, no.
What's the problem with that?
Well, mine are more interesting than yours.
No, they're not.
You don't. You never drop on the salient facts. Listen, talking about conversations, things we had before. Do you know what I found out? Studying my journals last night ahead of the show today.
Studying your journals?
Yeah, as I do. I do all the time. Do you know who was born on this day in 1595?
No idea.
Listen.
Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches.
I didn't know they made records in the 16th century.
No, they didn't. But what's that? What is that record?
I've no idea.
That is the theme music to Pocahontas.
Pocahontas?
Yes.
Do you mean Pocahontas?
Pocahontas. born in... What are you laughing at? Pocahontas.
You managed to get that wrong.
Pocahontas, right?
Pocahontas,
She was born in 1595.
Was she?
She was the
Where
daughter...
was she born?
Hey?
Where?
She was born in England, somewhere.
In England?
Gloucester. I think it was in Gloucester, in England.
Really?
Yeah, but what happened was, she was the original, she was the original... What are you laughing at?
They're going to change every O to an A.
No, she was the original daughter of... let me see. She was the daughter.
Your researchers worked out too well.
No, she wasn't actually. Sorry, she was an Indian actually. She wasn't born in England.
She wasn't born in Gloucester then.
No, she was.
You sure?
She was born in Gloucester County, Virginia, in a place called Wero-Wawa
Easy to confuse the two.
No, honestly.
That sounds like that Beach Boys song.
It does a bit, yeah. It's spelled Wero-Woko-Mokokoma, and it's.
I think you were in a Coca-Cola last night.
No. And that's in Gloucester, in Gloucester County in Virginia.
Gloucester County
now,
in
the
Virginia.
point is, she had an amazing life.
Did she?
Yeah, she had an amazing life because...
Did she ever come to Gloucester in England?
No, she came to Gravesend, which is where she's buried. She's buried in Gravesend.
Yeah, why is she buried in Gravesend?
Well, it's an amazing story. What happened was, when the first settlers...
We haven't done this before.
No, we've definitely never done this before. When she got out there, she was a beautiful...
Where?
Eh?
Out where?
No, when the settlers got out to Virginia.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right? And they called it Virginia after the Virgin Queen, Queen Elizabeth, right? And when they got out to Virginia, she saved the life of an English settler.
You know, it's still called the Commonwealth of Virginia when you're there.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Is it?
All the kind of, the administration and everything else, they don't call it a state.
No,
they call it Commonwealth
of Virginia. That's fantastic. So, anyway, first of all, she saved the life of one settler named John Smith. And do you know how she saved it?
No idea.
Her father was about to club him to death because he was a white infidel sort of invader. And she put her head on top of John Smith's head.
Did she?
So her father couldn't club John Smith to death, or else he would have clubbed his daughter to death.
It's like he didn't club her to death if he was too far, with the backswing.
Well, no. I mean, this is what she did. She then went on to marry another settler called John Rolfe, R-O-L-F-E.
Right.
And
she died when she was 21.
She died when she was 22, I think, and she was brought back to England as this stunning, beautiful bride from the in the New World, the colonial world, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so she did ever so well until she caught the disease and died. Unfortunately, that's why she's.
Disease?
I don't know,
do you?
Well, some sort of disease. Well, it must have been, otherwise it wouldn't have killed her, would it?
No.
But the amazing thing is that Disney film, made out that she was this beautiful young squaw. She was in fact captured by the settlers and held for ransom to stop the Indians. You know which Indians they were?
The Native Americans, you mean?
The Native Americans.
Yeah.
And it was, I know the name of their tribe actually. It was, hang on, what are they called? They were.
Cherokees?
No.
Iroquois?
Oh, no. The Cherokees were terrible people. No, it was the. Let me see. It was the. I used to know this actually. I think it was the Matoaka.
I've never heard of that tribe.
Yeah, it is the Matoaka tribe, right? And anyway, the point of the story is, she was captured.
No, Matoaka was her name.
Matoaka wasn't her name.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case...
It's not the tribe.
Let me just find which tribe she was from. She was captured by the English during Anglo-Indian hostilities in 1613. So she wanted... So what they said was, don't keep attacking us, we've got a hostage. She then...
Why are you telling me all this?
Because it's so interesting.
Is it?
She then...
Where's the interesting bit?
Just shut up for a minute. She then converted to Christianity and took the name Rebecca, and so basically she was a traitor to her own people.
So hang on, why is she called Pocahontas then?
Because that was her Native American name.
She was born Matoaka, and she died Rebecca.
Yes.
So where's the other bit from?
Well, Pocahontas was like princess. That was her affectionate name that her parents gave her. You see what I mean? And she came from the Amuti tribe, actually.
Did she?
But anyway, what I was going to say was, in much the same way as I've said to you that the guy in Dances with Wolves wasn't a hero, he was a traitor to the US cavalry.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah, Pocahontas was a traitor to her own Native American people. She actually sided with the settlers.
I suspect it's slightly more complex.
No, it's not. And she had no right to do that.
Why are you
because
so fascinated with the Old West, anyway?
I'm not fascinated with the Old West. I just think that...
You told us a story about Wounded Knee at the beginning of the week.
I think
at the end of the week, telling us about Pocahontas.
The greatest crime against any group of people that's ever happened in the history of the world is the Native Americans in America, who were basically wiped out.
Well, I don't know
if
that's
true. They were just
true.
wiped out. And those that are left are not the proud proud tribes that they once were.
That's not true.
By the way, you know... Do
you know some of the wealthiest parts of America now are those parts run by the Native Americans? They've got Indian reservations, they've got casinos,
I know they have.
Massive amounts of money coming in.
But it's not a great way of life, is it?
What's wrong with it?
Well, they are, they live in... some of them are rich at the top, but some of them live in very poor conditions.
No, communities are booming now because of all the gambling.
I'm not sure I believe that, but for years and years and years, they were definitely... well, first of all, they were massacred, and then there was terrible prejudice against the Native Americans because of their colour of the skin and all that kind of stuff, and I think it was a terrible, terrible time. Talking about the Cherokee, which you mentioned, by the way, they were the worst. You know that great song, those Cherokee are after me, but I'm still rolling along. Oh, it's 3 Wheels on My Wagon. What? 3 wheels on my wagon.
I think you definitely have lost the plot.
No.
On day
and
5.
I'm still rolling along.
By whom?
No, I don't know, but the next line is, those Cherokee are after me. Now, the Cherokee, I mean, if you got captured by Pocahontas' lot, it wasn't so bad, right? Yeah. The Cherokee don't get captured by them. Do you know what they used to do?
I don't know.
Do you know the expression, raise and lower the bar?
Yeah.
Do you know where that came from?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
It came from the Cherokee, because if they captured you and you were a prisoner of theirs and they thought they didn't like you very much, and by the way, they didn't want information because they didn't speak English, they would hang you from a crossbar, if you see what I mean.
Well, like from a goalpost crossbar?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that sort of thing.
They play football?
No, you idiot. Come on,
why
just
would they
listen.
have a crossbar?
Well, you know what I'm talking about.
No,
I'm talking about a bar suspended between 2 trees.
But why would they have that?
I'm just about to tell you. And then what they do is they tie you to it, right?
You've told us all this before, about burning the feet and everything.
They used to burn people's feet.
Yeah, you've done all this.
No, but hang on. What I found out from my journals is...
I'm fed up talking about Pocahontas now. I'm talking about something else.
No. All right, well, I'll tell you something else in a minute. But what I'm saying is the Cherokee used to cut your feet off and then burn your legs. They were horrible people. They weren't good. She wasn't like that, but I felt she was a traitor. So what I was going to say to you was, why that's an historical day is because it comes with another great occasion on this day being January the 1st.
I can barely wait for this one.
Well, you see, you say that, and it's only because you don't come up with these fascinating...
I've got a great story to tell you.
Well, I'm just going to tell you this very quickly. In 1962, on this day, 1962, at Decca Records, a group of young men called the Beatles were ejected by the man sitting in the office on the basis that guitar bands were out of fashion. How about that? That was this day, 1962.
And what was his name?
Well, I don't know.
You don't know, do you?
No, because I don't care.
Research is always full of holes.
No.
I'm going to tell you about a couple
what do you want to tell us
who
about?
thought they'd won the lottery.
Oh, dear
but
me.
Unfortunately, their online
I've seen this story.
Didn't go through. It's a shocking story. We'll talk about it coming up on TalkSport. Now, coming
Let's
up
keep up with that one.
Yeah, we will, well, they're going to score soon, obviously.
Yeah,
coming up at 4 o'clock, of course, it's Drive with Mr. Mickey Quinn and Sam Matterface. Mr. Quinn.
Hi, boys.
Happy New Year to you.
All the best. All the best.
Now, I should warn you that Porky said earlier, if anybody says Happy New Year to him after
midday,
I
said all the best.
he's going to punch him in the face.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I'd like to see him try and punch you in the face. That's what I want. I want you to do it.
Well, there's plenty of face to punch. Let's put it that way, eh? Yeah, Mickey, I'm so sorry. How did your New Year's Eve go then?
Very well.
In the home of racing.
Yeah, in Newmarket. Went to the Fountain,
the
famous
Fountain,
Chinese restaurant in Newmarket, and seeing the New Year in with about 40 odd people. Disco. My daughter had a good laugh.
Did they play Tragedy by the Bee Gees?
No, like.
Well, that was one of the songs he picked.
One of my songs. I would have picked.
They did play. I remember it was pretty weird. Everyone got up in the middle of the room, all Land's End, did all the hands and all that, and then It's Raining Men come on straight after that.
It's Raining Men.
I think he had some radio station.
Most heterosexual men at that point leave the dance floor.
I would have thought.
You don't want to be seen dancing.
I started
to that,
body
really.
popping and backflipping.
No, now tell me.
Right over me, sweet and sour balls.
Tell me. Don't much to know about it. It's a family show. Tell me, Quinny, they didn't do the old 10, 9, 8, did they?
Yeah, they did. There's countdown, and then they had the bongs.
No. I'd have run out of the restaurant at that stage. I can't stand
Well, there wasn't many in the
Well,
restaurant.
now you know how to get rid of him if you're out for lunch.
Do you know what, though, Mike? Do you know what? Because I'm a bit of a party pooper and party popper on New Year's. I've always played football at the racing, so I haven't really celebrated. But it was nice to celebrate in an old-fashioned traditional way, with the bongs and with the haven't done that for years.
No, it's nice.
It's nice.
Mickey, for you, an old-fashioned traditional way is ending up face down on the pavement outside the restaurant, isn't it?
In the old days, Michael, with the game the next day.
He accuses everybody else of doing what he does. Anyway, what's coming up on the show?
Right, I'm going to get stuck into Louis van Gaal, me and Sam Matterface on tonight. He has said that apart from December in 2015, it was a good year for Manchester United.
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
You seem to think not.
I seem to think not. I think they got into the Champions League. They were knocked out the Champions League.
Yeah.
Football they played in 2015 was boring. They had one good month, and I remember it because they battered Liverpool at Anfield. And for them 3 games in the month of February, they played some good football. For me, I can't remember any other good football than that month.
But this is why he's so niggly with everybody, isn't it? Because he actually genuinely believes that he's doing a good job, and everyone who's looking at him is saying, "Actually, we don't think you are."
Well, we're going to put it out there anyway to Man United fans. They're the best judges who can tell us. What a game tomorrow. Sunderland at home to Aston Villa. I've seen Sam Allardyce's interview today. Looked a bit flustered because they're favourites. They're favourites to win that game. He said favourites. We're bottom of the league versus second bottom league. Favourites. And he looks flustered, but...
we've got a hard job on his hands, hasn't he?
Yeah, so we're going to get stuck into that as well. Newcastle struggling, of course. Their next 2 games,
They've got Arsenal, haven't they?
And Manchester United.
Yeah. Well, you never know what's going to happen against Manchester United these days, so...
A little poll.
Yeah.
Which team in the North East is going to be in the Premier League next season?
Middlesbrough.
Newcastle.
Sunderland.
Yeah, well, you don't know. Yeah.
Thanks, lads.
Yeah.
And a Happy New Year.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, go on, punch him. Let's see it. Let's go.
Go on.
No.
Let's go.
Go on. Chins out.
I haven't got time.
My chins are out.
I'll see after... Yeah, OK, go on. Get out of here.
Cheers, lads.
Chinese telephone book.
Now, let me tell you about this story about the lottery couple, right?
Well, it sounds fascinating.
Edwina and David Nyland, right?
Yes.
They use their online lotto app to buy the lottery ticket.
Right,
okay?
right.
Now, when the numbers came up, right, they got quite excited. Do you know how much they were thinking they'd won?
No.
£35 million.
What kind of a lotto was it?
The lotto.
No, the lotto in this country.
Yes, of
You're talking
course.
about the National Lottery?
Yes, the National Lottery.
Because you know what? I think that's now up to like 42 million quid rollover or something.
Well, as you remember, the question we had yesterday on the quiz was, of course,
how many lottery
millionaires have been created? It was 341.
Well,
now,
I don't understand this.
Well, what happened basically was that for some reason, the app that they used to buy the ticket did not work properly. And it wasn't necessarily the fault of the lottery. It looks like there was a problem with the way that they'd done it. So, without realising, but at the point that they bought the ticket and put their numbers in, they thought it was done and dusted. Well, they didn't get any kind of error message. They didn't get any kind of problem.
Yeah, but hang on.
Coming back to them.
The thing is here, Mike, if there was a failure in the machinery and they went through the normal procedure and it should have all worked, then they can sue National Lottery, can't they? So they must have accepted. They must have accepted they've done something wrong.
Well, what's happened apparently is Edwina, who basically is a grandmother of 7, right? She says that she went to purchase the ticket the first time on Wednesday, just before Christmas. The account showed that she had insufficient funds.
I see. She keeps an online account.
She does it because you can. A lot of people do.
Yeah, they
just
do.
Buy it online.
They do.
You know, I know you don't like to do that.
No, exactly.
Right? So she topped up the account so that there were insufficient funds.
Yes.
And she then says that when she bought the ticket, the app confirmed that the purchase had gone through.
Well, at that stage, surely, if she's got evidence of that, then she's got a claim, hasn't she?
Well, Camelot say there was no record of the payment.
Right. Well, I mean, OK, that's fair enough. But I mean, surely there's got to be a much deeper investigation. If the lady Edwina says, did she get a confirmation? Did you say?
Well, she says she did, but she hasn't produced it.
Well, how does the confirmation come through? Does it come through online?
You get an email to confirm the purchase, basically.
Well, surely if she can produce that email, she must say to Camelot, hang on, you confirmed that my payment had gone through, my numbers were there.
It seems like a massive muddle, really, because Camelot say they can tell from the system that the couple did try and make multiple attempts to buy the ticket.
Right.
But it would appear that they never actually made it to buy the ticket.
This is interesting.
And if she says that she's got an email, then obviously if she shows the email, then she's won the money, but she can't find the email.
Right, well, this is interesting, because I've got a bit more information here. She says, I rang customer service at Camelot. The person I spoke to said they could see from the records that we'd intended to buy, but said the purchase did not go through, as we only had 60p in our account. So apparently you have to top up this account.
Well, so she topped it up.
But she said that when she first tried to purchase the ticket, she got the message, he hasn't enough money in your account.
That's right.
She says she put more money in. Yeah. Now then, she says, you get an email to confirm your purchase, but I didn't remember to check because it was just before Christmas and I was so busy. So she hasn't got an email.
No.
Nevertheless, Camelot, who are a credible and honest company, would surely admit that if an email had gone out and she hasn't got it, it does exist, surely. Sure, it's going to be simple to sort out, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, my sense on this one, right, is that they've been very unlucky, this couple, and because of the fact that they may not be as savvy as some people are about doing business online, that they might have sort of mistakenly thought that an email said that they got a confirmation, because either they got the email or they didn't.
Well, here's another clue. She started trying to buy it at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
the cut-off point is 7:30.
Yeah.
She made multiple attempts.
Yeah.
Could it be that by the time she had restored the sufficient amount of funds to the account, that they got past 7:30?
Possibly.
Who knows?
That
Who knows?
could be.
But I tell you what, that is the most heartbreaking.
But the worst thing about the story, really,
terrible.
is that you think
you're a multi-millionaire.
You think you've won 35 million.
Yeah. Do you know?
Can you imagine what that must be like?
Oh, absolutely terrible. A couple of months ago, I do the lotto every Saturday and Wednesday.
Why?
Because I like to. Because I like the sense of chance.
So you've already said to me that you've got more money than you could ever possibly
spend. I've never said that to you.
Yes, you have.
I have never, ever said that.
You've just told me that you've got a credit card that you can spend 12.5 grand on.
That's the limit on it.
You've told me that you've got a bank account somewhere that you can't even find that's got 12 grand in it.
No,
you've told me that you can go to any bank in London and they will purchase a house for you, no matter how expensive.
No, I didn't. I said that I've got enough... collateral and record to raise a mortgage if I wanted to buy a new house. That's all I said.
That's not what you said.
You make out like I go around boasting that I'm Billy Big Boots and I'm rich and all that. I don't, and I'm not.
You just bought a brand new car, which costs an awful lot of money.
That's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's just part of life. Anyway,
why do you do the lottery?
Because I like the sense of adventure.
If you do you think that's the sense of adventure?
I do, indeed.
Going into a shop and filling out a piece of paper?
No. On a Wednesday...
You're not exactly a Scot of the Antarctic, are you?
Hang on. On Thursday and Sunday mornings, I literally sort of shake with anticipation as I'm checking my...
Is you sure that's not the DTs?
Ticket. No, it's not the DTs, no. I'm shaking with anticipation as I take my lottery ticket and compare it to the numbers in the newspaper.
Do you do the same numbers every week?
Well, this is the thing.
I don't have time for a long explanation.
No, I do.
Yes or no?
I do one line of numbers the same every week, and then I do 4 lucky dips, right? So that you don't know what the numbers are on there. So that's even more exciting. You see, it's even more exciting. It is very exciting. I found it very exciting.
You need to get out.
And I won £25, by the way, on the lottery draw for last Saturday.
I remember many years ago when we did the mid-morning show together.
Yes.
I loaned you money to buy a lottery ticket. You won.
Don't be ridiculous.
You won no, because you didn't have any cash, and so I gave you.
Did you?
Yeah, I gave you some money.
How much did I win?
And you won about 400 quid, and you refused to give me half of it.
Rubbish, I've never won 400 quid on the lottery.
Shocking.
No.
This is Talk Sport. Now, coming up next week, of course, as I said, we return to the overnight show. Hawksby and Jacobs return to this
Of course
slot.
they do.
And, of course, there will be the normal clips of the week, which is a very popular little feature that they do.
Of course it is.
They do that at 3:30 every Friday.
Yeah.
So this week, because we normally make up quite a bit of the clips of the week, or you do specifically.
What?
We haven't done a clips of the week for them,
right?
Because that would be unfair and would
be
way above our station. So they're going to do their own clips of the week. However, what we thought we would do, by way of some kind of compensation for people who like to hear people making idiots of themselves.
Yes.
This is one of our favourite clips from last year. Question number 3: What is the area of Surrey in square miles?
Square miles. The area of Surrey.
The area of Surrey in square miles.
I think it's. In square miles. Right, hang on. What's 10 times 100? I think it's just over 1 million square miles. That was a ridiculous answer.
Which is about a fifth the size of China.
Yeah, exactly.
If Surrey really was that big,
but
it would take a lot longer to get into work.
I just got the point in the wrong place. I meant 1,000, of course.
Yeah, that was twice as big as it should have been as well. In fact, 3 times. I think it was about 300 and something.
Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't quite get it right, but I mean, these things happen. I have to think on my feet.
That was a quiz about Surrey as well.
Yes.
So, I mean, do you have to say, if you're going to do a quiz about a particular county, it's probably best to do some research to find out the size of that county.
Well, I was weighing it up on the landmarks that I know in Surrey and the amount I travel round it and that kind of stuff. So Box Hill and all this kind of stuff.
How far is Box Hill from, say, Epsom? About 700,000 miles.
No, you idiot. That was square miles. You've got to remember, when you square something, you're multiplying it by 16.
What?
Because, the square root and squaring a number is not just... I mean, when you
square something...
Yes.
You're multiplying it by itself.
Yes, of course you are.
Not by 16.
Yes, but you're not multiplying it by 1, are you? If you
multiply something by 1, you get the same answer.
If you square 8...
squared.
If you square 8...
What's 8 squared?
64.
So
because you're multiplying 8 times. But if you only multiply 8 by 1, it's 8. It's still 8.
Yeah, but
you see what I mean?
But that's not 8 squared.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's ludicrous and ridiculous. Now then...
It's going to take you a long time to get home tonight if you think it's 1 million square miles.
Listen, what I was going to say was...
What were you going to say? We've got to do the football predictions now.
Oh, let's do that then. Okay, yeah.
Have we got something else to do?
Well, I was going to tell you about something else.
Tell me about some other load of old nonsense
No,
from the Wild West.
No, that's not load of old nonsense, mate. No, I was going to tell you about a colleague of ours who died recently. And,
cheery story then.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit cheery because she is remembered very, very well for having changed the law in one of Fleet Street's most famous drinking establishments.
Okay. Well, now that you've started
Elvino's.
telling me about it, you might as well finish.
Do you want to hear about it?
Yeah, go on then.
Well, it's Margaret Allen, and she was the featured editor of the Times, right?
Margaret Allen.
I
don't think I knew her.
No, I didn't. I didn't work with her. She's 82 and she died just a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
But she was very popular in Fleet Street. When I first started there, I do remember knowing about her, so to speak. You know what I mean? Yeah, sure, yeah. And,
what do you mean?
Well, in the sense that she was...
You went nowhere near anyone on the Times because you would have been considered to
but
be
we all mixed in
tabloid scum.
Yeah, but you've got to remember...
No.
Well, a little bit. But you've got to remember in those days...
That's why Jon Snow didn't like you.
Yeah, he didn't, actually. I don't like him either. Fleet Street was a village, literally. So, I mean, although you say I was tabloid scum, because I was the news editor of the Daily Express, I often got invited to Elvino's to meet the grandees of the newspaper industry.
No, you would just go there, wouldn't you?
Well, I went there, whatever. And she was often in there. And the reason she was often in there... Margaret, a lady from Fleetwood in Lancashire, right? A very attractive lady.
So you're saying you knew her now?
I definitely met her.
Did you?
And what happened was, the reason you met her, she was a celebrity. When she first went to Fleet Street, she went into Elvino's and she was standing at the bar talking to a male colleague.
Yeah.
And the chap behind the bar, who's not the chap behind the bar these days, not the manager these days, said, "I'm sorry."
Well, they've just sold the place, haven't they?
They have just sold it, yeah.
Davies Wine Bar.
Davies Wine Bar. But she said, "I'm sorry, madam, but I mean, you cannot stand here and talk at the bar with your colleague. Would you please go and take the tables over there?" And she said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "We have a rule, a house rule, that ladies are not allowed to stand at the bar. You either sit down or you have to leave." Anyway, she got so irate.
And they also were not allowed in unless they were wearing skirts or something.
They weren't allowed in trousers, absolutely right.
It's hard to believe that it wasn't that long ago that kind of rule existed.
But this went on until I think...
I can't believe you frequented a place where that sort of treatment of women was allowed.
Well, Did
you not stand up for them at any point?
I did, indeed. And I admire her enormously, because what happened was, right...
I want to hear more about when you stood up for them.
I'll tell you that in a minute. The point is, because Elvino's in Fleet Street is frequented by journalists, but it's
lawyers.
I was about to say, it's at the junction of Fleet Street and the Strand. Yeah. And the Strand, of course, is famous for having the High Courts of Justice.
Yeah.
So an awful lot of lawyers and barristers around who used to come into Elvino's. And consequently, she decided to go to court and try and challenge us. So she said on the occasion, by the way, that she was told not to stand at the bar. She said, "Why?" He said, "It's a house rule. It's like men having to wear a jacket and tie if they want to stand at the bar." So she said...
Yeah, but you see, I think that's grossly unfair.
I think it's grossly unfair. So she said, yes, but if a man comes in here without a jacket and tie, he can actually go next door where there is a menswear shop and get a jacket and tie.
Yeah.
She said, if I were to stand at the bar, I have to become a man. I'd have to do things slightly more differently.
Yes, indeed.
And it'd be a much longer process, wouldn't it? So she went to court. It went to the High Court just across the road.
Are you sort of lauding her as the sort of Emmeline Pankhurst
Absolutely.
Of the wine bar trade?
Absolutely. I would have hated to have been part of an establishment that said women can't stand at the bar and talk.
Well, it seems like you kept going there.
Well, I did keep going there, but I supported...
So it never crossed your mind to not go there on the grounds that they were being discriminatory?
Well, I was there. You see, you can either
That's a straight no, isn't it?
Mike, you can either get in the midst of a battle and fight it from within, or you can just say, no, I'm not going, and not fight it at all.
So you took the view that the best way to fight the battle was to go and continue to pour money into their profits?
I thought the best way to fight the battle was to continue to go to Elvino's and spend a lot of money, and then if it came to a,
And how exactly was that helping the cause of women?
Because if it came to make or break, eventually, I'd have said to the guys there, right, unless you bend the rules now, unless you change the rules and allow women to stand at the bar, allow women to come in here in trousers.
But you never said that.
I will withdraw my patronage, and because I'm an important Fleet Street person, I'll recommend that others do as well.
Did you ever take a woman there?
No.
Why not?
Yes, I did, actually. Funnily enough, Philippa Kennedy, who I worked with on the Express. We went there and had lunch once.
Did you make her wear a skirt?
No, not at all. That was up to her. The rules had all changed by then. But anyway, she lost the case in the High Court. The judge, however, ruled in favour of Elvino, and the ban was not lifted until 1982. That's to stand at the bar. And so that was about the time that I started working in Fleet Street, actually, as a senior executive. You see what I mean? So by then, all the work had been done. But I just thought it was, the people love these Fleet Street stories. Guess where she spent her last years?
I don't know.
Over the last 2 decades, one of her great delights was to belong to a small group of veteran journalists from the Times and the Sunday Times with whom she used to work, who would meet most Friday evenings at a wine bar close to Ludgate Circus, which of course is right at the end of Fleet Street. There she would enjoy the reminiscences and gossip that are a hallmark of the trade while sipping good champagne. So she had the right attitude to life, that lady.
Doesn't say which one, though.
Sorry?
Doesn't say which one.
Her name was Margaret Allen. Well, I think...
No, I mean which wine bar.
Well, the only one I know, mate, is if you go down to Ludgate Circus...
Yeah.
And you just go a little bit to the right, actually on the circus itself. Isn't there one called the Three Cherries or something, where you go down the stairs?
I don't know.
I've been there a few times. In fact, I went there once with James Whale, who used to work here. We did a Christmas pre-rec show, and we walked over there, and we went there. And I'm sure that must be the one she was talking about.
Okay.
But anyway, lovely lady, Margaret Allen, rest in peace.